What's up everyone? Welcome to the first episode in our brand new Filmmaking 101 series. I'm your host Wesley Millat, and today we're going to talk about lighting. Lighting is a key element that beginning filmmakers or video creators often overlook. I know because I've been there and made this mistake myself. When we first start out, we're so excited about an idea that we just want to pick up the camera and start shooting. We don't really think about, or we don't realize the amount of thought and effort that goes into lighting the most basic scenes. So today I wanted to discuss a simple lighting technique that you could use to drastically improve the quality of your films. This can not only be applied to narrative filmmaking, but documentary filmmaking and corporate videos as well. And for any video creators that make YouTube videos, you guys can even use this to make your videos look more professional and help them stand out amongst the crowd. This technique is called three-point lighting, which, you guessed it, consists of three lights: a key light, a fill light, and a backlight. Our key light is going to be our main light, and its purpose is to light our scene or subject. It's usually going to be the brightest light in your scene, so we typically start with setting up our key light first. A fill light is then placed opposite of the key light, and its purpose is to fill in any shadows on our subject that is created by our key light. It's typically softer and less bright than our key. Now, you can get away with lighting your subject using just a key and a fill light, but to make our image more three-dimensional, we can add a backlight, or as it's sometimes referred to, a hair light. The purpose of a backlight is to add separation between our subject and our background. So now that we've gone over what each light does in our three-point lighting technique, let's actually put this all into practice. So if we were doing a scene in this room, we can see that it's pretty boring with a lot of white walls. And if we place our subject in the middle of the room here, we can see that the image looks pretty flat. So let's start placing our lights. The first thing I look for when thinking about the placement of any lights is the way that the light naturally falls into the room. If this is a daylight scene, is there any daylight spilling in from any windows? If so, I'll try to replicate the daylight with my key light and place my subject accordingly. So I chose to position my subject here because I felt that it gave me the most depth and made the plain background less noticeable. If we take a look at the lighting diagram, you'll see a lot of people that prefer to set the key light on the same side as the camera. By doing that, you'll get something that looks like this. This makes the side of the light closest to the camera the brightest, and this is completely fine. There's nothing technically wrong with it, but I prefer to set the key on the opposite side of the camera where it'll look like this. This makes the side of the face furthest from the camera brighter and adds more contrast and dimension to our subject's face. So now that we have our key light placed, let's go ahead and place our fill light, which again is used to fill in the shadows created by our key light. We'll place this light opposite of our key light, and if we turn it on, bam, we get a nice evenly lit subject with no harsh shadows. If you're getting a shadow from your fill light, just turn it down or use diffusion to cut down on that shadow. So this is what our fill looked like before diffusion. You can see we're catching a harsh shadow from our subject on the back wall. And this is what it looked like after diffusion. This is a lot better as the distracting shadow is now gone. Now that we have our key and fill lights placed, let's go ahead and place our hair or backlight. We'll place this light behind our subject outside of frame and typically raise it a little higher than our subject, pointing it down toward their shoulders. So now that we have our backlight placed, let's turn on our key and fill lights, and voila! We have a nice, well-lit subject using the three-point lighting technique. If we turn our lights on and off, we can now see how each light is affecting our subject separately. This is what we started with having no lights. This is just our key light, this is just our fill light, and this is just our backlight. And once again, our final image with all three lights. If we went one step further, we could add a fourth and fifth light, a background light to specifically highlight our background, and a catch light to make our subject's eyes pop out a little bit more. Once we understand the basics of 3-point lighting, we can then start to experiment with taking light away to create more contrast in our image and different types of mood lighting, which we'll get into in another episode of Filmmaking 101, but that's gonna do it for this episode. Let us know in the comments below if there's a specific topic about filmmaking that you wanna see in our Filmmaking 101 series, and we'll be sure to make a video on it. Links to all of the lighting gear that was used to create this video is in the description below. We used a really cheap LED lighting kit from Newer that you can pick up on Amazon for about 150 bucks. So if you're interested in any of that gear, check it out in the description below. But if you're just starting out and don't have that kind of cash to spare, you can swing by Home Depot and pick up a couple of work lamps for about 12 bucks a piece and a white bed sheet and achieve similar results. In addition, we have Killer Be Killed posters and canvases, as well as Thinking Art t-shirts in our merch store. And we're happy to announce the launch of our brand new Patreon with some pretty awesome reward tiers, including early access to all of our videos, and exclusive to anyone that is a producer on our Patreon, we are offering more in-depth, bigger, longer behind-the-scenes videos. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment below, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Filmmaking 101.